Our next session is called Secrets of the YouTube Superstars. Yes, we've come a long way from skateboarding dogs where it's actually possible, with a lot of diligence and a lot of creativity carefully applied, to actually make a living by posting your contributions to YouTube. It's actually more than just posting. It's having a coherent and crafted strategy, as we're about to find out. Now, anyone who's interested in this topic is familiar with Tubefilter, certainly the leading tracker of online content in the world of broadband and online video, new media entertainment. With us as the host of this session is Marc Hustvedt, the co-founder and editor of Tubefilter. And Marc, if you would be so kind to introduce your very distinguished guests.
All right. Thanks, guys. Welcome. All right, I have a few slides, but then we're going to get to these guys because that's who you really want to hear from. So let's do it. Again, my name is Marc. We have a site called Tubefilter. We write about these guys. We write about what's happening in online video and web series. So maybe this will work. Maybe not. Anyway, we've got these nice, fine people here. We'll get into the panels, but really I'll introduce who they are. But I wanted to frame it in the sense that YouTube, particularly in the last couple of years, has become really the first mega global network. And I say global because it's been localized in, I believe, 24 different countries. It's available in almost every country in the world. So when these guys broadcast and put out their shows, their audience truly is all around the world. And we're seeing stars not just here in the United States. There certainly is a lot of YouTube stars in the States, but there's also stars in Australia and France and England. So it's pretty amazing what's happening. Territory rights are totally different for these guys. So as the first, I don't know if these slides will work, but we had some fun numbers on these guys from our research. But all right, let's just introduce them first. Oh, there we go. There we go. I see them. Thanks, guys. Let's see if this guy works. Do you guys have the ability to go forward? There we go. We'll just click through them. So there's YouTube. Can we keep moving forward? Okay, again, first global mega network. It's now doing about 2 billion video views a day. That number actually is probably higher now. That was a couple months ago now. And keep it rolling. I don't think I have any ability to control this. Maybe I do. Okay. It's localized in 24 countries, 29 different languages. And the average person spends about 15 minutes per day on YouTube. And that number has been going up every year. Okay, so what we're going to talk about today with these guys, we have 4 of the top 30 most subscribed, and you'll hear the word top 100 thrown around. You'll hear top 30. Really, it's a number of the subscribers going from sort of most to least. So when you say like, oh, it's the 6 most subscribed, that's a relative gauge of their audience on YouTube. And we'll get into why a subscriber actually matters. And we'll talk about when did it go from hobby into becoming a sustainable media business for these guys. We'll also look at frequency of publishing, how they cross-promote, a new trend we're seeing on YouTube of roll-ups, of taking very successful channels and rolling them up together into these sort of mini media companies. And then how do you balance these branded opportunities that come to these stars? And how do they balance that with having authentic content for their audience? So, and we'll sort of ask the question out there, are these guys closer to rock stars or media moguls? Or both? Because certainly we see traits of both in the way they operate. This one got all messed up, but the general idea, we're looking at just these guys, they represent 4 YouTube channels, 688 million combined views and counting. About 4.8 million subscribers between all of them. And those 688 million views from just 2,000 videos. When these guys put out videos, they get a lot of attention. Okay, so let's introduce them. First, we have iJustine. She's iJustine. We'll just go names, and we can talk about why you guys are awesome later. MysteryGuitarMan, who is a mystery, wears sunglasses all the time, creates some amazing artistic musical videos. And then to his left, Freddie Wong and Brandon Laatsch. These guys, your channel is Freddie W. And finally on the left, we have Phil DeFranco, with the Phil DeFranco Show. So awesome. All right, let's leave it up. Let's get down to it. All right, so we're here to talk about secrets. So please dish. Let's get into it. But first, let's ask, when did it stop becoming a hobby, and when did you guys realize that this could be a real business? Like you start paying the bills doing this. I'll shoot it to you at the end.
Well, paying the bills was probably 2 years ago, but as far as a business, I would say the past year, just actually dealing with CEOs, I hate using the term old media, just actually people from big companies and how they handle us, or not handle us, deal with us, and the amount of time and effort it takes, because we often say like it's like an 80-hour a week. Sometimes it's not even like a job, we're working at our life. It's weird. I'd say though, like the past year it's been crazy.
Gotcha. How about you, Freddie? When did it start? When did you realize like this could be a career?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, in terms of like being able to support ourselves, Brandon and I, just in terms of rent, we came into this at the beginning of the year in March, very much seeing YouTube as a place that could be a place where we could do short films and sustain what we were doing financially. Given about maybe we were probably predicting 3 or 4 months of float time before we could sort of get to a point. And the way we sort of were thinking about this was throughout college, Brandon and I had put up experimental videos. One of my thesis projects was like just to put videos out and see what plays online and what kind of content is, catches online, because what my mom watches online is not what most people watch online. So we were trying things out, and we came into it at the beginning of this year with a very clear idea of like, okay, we want to hit this crowd, we want to be able to get to this point. And so I guess early on we had an idea that could be done. So, and it sort of has panned out about timing wise what we had thought.
Yeah, we tested our content for the years prior. And we pretty much had it worked out what we were going to do once we started. And so once we actually got into it, we had a very clear focus. We knew it was going to take some time to actually build the audience to be able to support ourselves, but it was more of finding the time to start instead of really knowing if it would work. It was a matter of picking out a time in our schedule that we could take a 3-month break.
Yeah, by the time we had done it too, a lot of these other guys had demonstrated that that's a feasible thing,
And Justine, I mean, you had a video that it was the iPhone bill a couple years. Is that the moment you realized, or?
I think that definitely was, because I just posted a single video, and within an hour or two, I was getting calls from USA Today, CNN, like everywhere around the world, just about this video. I was like, if I can do this again and again and again with other videos and build an online community and an audience, I can continue to do this. But I quit my job probably 4 years ago, and I wasn't really at that point that I should have quit. My mother was very unhappy with me, but I was like, I really think there's something here. So, I put a lot more effort into, creating more content and engaging in audiences. And so probably for the past 2 years, I think brands are finally realizing, this is where maybe we should spend some marketing dollars, because we're talking directly to people, and we have stats, we have numbers, we can show you our click-through rates, we can show you the comments, and you can see exactly what you're getting.
So it's a real audience. I mean, it's a measured real audience that is watching your show. I guess help me understand how much time goes into your channels. I mean, it's a lot of people say, oh, it's just throwing up a video on YouTube. That can't be that hard. But all of you, and I know you guys, work incredibly hard. In fact, 2 of them in the speaker ready room were uploading their latest videos and tagging them and Facebooking them and pushing them out. How much do you guys work?
It's a lot of hours, yeah. I'd say about like 80 hours a week or so, like Phil was saying, yeah. So, because for a lot of us, especially in the beginning, we didn't have the support system to do everything. So we had to do all our own sound editing, our own music, our own video editing, our own the green screen effects or whatever. You know, I think you do everything by yourself.
Still do.
Still, you know, and Phil, I think, does everything. But you know, now we're finally starting to get assistant editors and stuff like that. At least for me, you know, so it's taking off my workload a little bit, so I can actually get some sleep. But you know, it's still a lot of hours. You know, you got to keep up to a schedule.
Yeah, I think like they both said, you know, it's for us like this is our life. And so a lot of stuff that I do too is vlogging. So just, you know, running around this convention center or just doing anything, you know, it's like every second of the day you're working, essentially. You know, if you're not posting videos, you're still tweeting, or you're updating Facebook, or you're updating all these social networks, you know, to tie back into your videos and keep people updated on what you're doing.
We're all-nighters in the last year than we did all throughout college. So.
But you enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yes, which is important.
Let's talk about frequency of distribution, because there are a lot of people who do these web series that come out, and they might make 6 or 7 episodes, and they say, oh, I made a web series. You guys do something different, and you're continually broadcasting to your audience regularly. How often, do you guys find sort of a secret in terms of how often to release videos? Is it every week? Is it every day?
How often can you make them? I think it's different for everybody. I mean, Freddie and Brandon, they do, I think, like once a week.
One a week,
Phil does a couple hundred a day.
A couple hundred, yeah. I think so.
You know, I do like Tuesdays and Thursdays. Do you have a schedule?
I don't, and I've tried to, but I'm really bad at sticking to schedules.
It's really important to
Yeah.
stick to a schedule.
Yeah.
Get to a schedule.
I've tried.
Yeah, but yeah, because you know, sometimes you know YouTube messes up their subscription inbox or something like that. You know, and then people that are subscribed to you don't get your videos or whatever. So if people are coming back every Tuesday, every Thursday, or every day or whatever, then you know you get that real audience. You know, you get like your real fans that know how to get there immediately. You know.
Yeah, don't confuse them like me. I'm like, well, I'm probably going to post one this week, so just check back. It's fine.
Yeah, the thing that we found is consistency is very key, you know, because I always like to look back at the other example of creative types working at home, which is like web comics from back in the day. And if you look at all the web comics and like the ones that are actually financially successful, of which there are very few, every single one of them is the same in that they're all very consistent. And it's very easy to say, I'm not going to do it this week, I'm going to skip it. But by setting a schedule and sticking to this schedule, we found it's like you're giving something back to the audience. You're saying you're rewarding commitment by saying, hey, you're gonna tune into this. You're gonna get something back every week in return. You know, and I think that's a big part of it. And it really depends. Yeah, like I think some people do one a day, and generally I think judging from sort of the other sort of YouTube people, generally I think at least once a week is important at least. You know?
Yeah, no, I mean, I definitely post, I have several different channels, so like on my main one, it's definitely at least once a week.
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of us do have separate channels so that people subscribe to different types of content. So one channel is for actually good content that's edited, and the second one is for, well, if you're bored, here's some vlogs that are unedited. And there's like people that have iPhone channels, so you're constantly, no matter where you are, you're updating from some sort of device or for some video on some channel.
It also depends on the content too. Like if I were to do a video every day, or like if Freddie was to do a video every day, then we wouldn't be here, we'd be dead somewhere.
Yes,
but,
that's true.
You know, like vlogging kind of content, or you know, like daily life, people just shooting their lives or stuff like that, which you know is a different kind of content. But you know, if that's how you set up your channel, then that's your release schedule.
Let's shift to, this is the Media Moneymakers session here at CES. I think people are generally interested in the business model here. And how does a YouTube star make money is the real question. I mean, we're seeing some of it's coming from brand deals outside of YouTube. Some of it's coming from merchandise has become a bigger piece of the business. And of course, the YouTube Partner Program, which, if those of you guys don't know, there are about 15,000 YouTube partners currently, and yeah, that's a lot of partners. That means people that YouTube has said their content is brand safe, and that they get a share of the ad revenue that Google is selling, generally speaking, right? So how do you guys, tell us a little bit about the business model that you guys have sort of fallen into?
Well, it depends, I think, for every channel on YouTube. Like some people are really brand friendly. So, you know, they might get a little bit more like brand stuff like Justine. I think there's 300 brands a day.
Yeah, every day.
Or stuff. Every day she does 300. No. But, you know, like really brand friendly. And some people, I don't know, like Shane Dawson, Ray William Johnson, they don't do any brands, but they do mostly merchandising and just strictly revenue from YouTube. So I think it really depends, you know, but if you got the audience, there's a way to find the money there.
Mm-hmm. And how is working with brands? Phil, I know you work a lot with brands and you work with channels that you're getting approached now by brands. You're not so much banging on their door, they're coming and banging on yours.
Well, yeah, I don't think it's ever been that we were banging on doors, begging for money. I mean, it was hard back in the day. Like, I'm pretty sure a few of us have been close to evicted or living in our cars.
Yep, sleeping on the floor.
I mean, that 15,000 is a good percentage. But I think what's changed now is the quality of the brand. Like a while ago, it would be one of those weird, sketchy bid websites, and they'd be like, "Oh, promote. Yeah, no, it's good. It's a nice number." But now it's like the State Farms, the Garniers, actually contacting us. And what's cool is they're actually okay with us being doing the creative ourselves and trusting us to actually know our audience and to integrate in a way that we're making the experience better. Like my way of integrating it is I really want to start giving stuff away and be like Oprah, but blacker.
You get a BlackBerry. You get a BlackBerry.
Now? Everybody's surprised.
No, yeah, I mean, it's gotten a lot easier.
It definitely has got a lot easier. I mean, I remember years ago, I'm just like, I can't do this video for $5. I mean, you know, I have $5 is about a coffee that it's going to take to stay awake to edit this video. So we need to talk here. So once you're able to show them these stats, show them the people that you're reaching, and especially, I mean, my demographic it skews very young and female. So I was approached by Barbie to help launch one of their new Video Girl Barbie dolls. So doing a project like that, it was absolutely perfect. I mean, my audience is technology savvy girls. So for them, it was perfect.
What are the brands looking for? I mean, is it just view count? Is that what matters, or is there more of an engagement they're looking for?
I think it really depends. I mean, it depends what they're looking to promote. So either they're looking to promote sales or promote some sort of contest, or I mean, it really depends, you know, what they're looking for. And then, I mean, I feel like we just kind of merge our videos around what they are trying to achieve.
And it's also because it's a different audience than TV. It's a different audience than newspaper. So you can, for you to advertise on television, you get like that 80% of your market share or whatever you need. For you to get that extra 20%, you know, instead of spending a whole lot more on television, like $5 million more on television, you just spend a couple $100,000 on online marketing, you know. So it's a whole different audience online, you know.
Also, we found that over the last year, the audience has become much more accepting of brand deals. Like a year ago, when people were just starting to do them, people, you know, you got a lot of the sellout, a lot of people didn't like it, and now people are starting to really understand that, you know, this is what we do for a living, and then that's okay.
Is there sort of an unwritten, if I do a branded video, I've got to do 3 or 4 unbranded? Does that exist?
I think the key is to make the branded videos, because they're branded, bigger and better than the other ones, because you're actually getting a budget for them. So now the branded video is something more than they'd get if it wasn't branded. So that's the bargain.
You look at extreme sports, right? Like Red Bull throws their brand over everything. But nobody cares. Nobody's like, oh man, this guy did this, jumped over a helicopter, but Red Bull paid for it. Lame, what a sellout. Because as a consumer, it's like, look, the brand has come in and it's enabled something cooler than what normally would have happened to happen. So, you know, as an audience at this point too, especially what we found, is like, yeah, you're okay with that because you're getting something out of it. If you're going to come, if I'm, you know, paying my commitment, I'm going to check in every week on your videos, and it's like, oh, you phoned in something that you're getting paid for. Well, it's like, yeah, that's not cool. But if it's something above and beyond, then we found that they're okay with it.
I think that's the thing too, is the brands are letting us decide, you know, what is going to be a good video. I mean, they might have these brilliant ideas. Oh, we should do this and put the logo here. I'm like, yeah, that's a little bit too much, and people are going to get freaked out and not want to continue watching the video. So kind of integrating it into a way that it's something that we'd normally already do, but maybe making it a little bit better. I mean, I've found that helps out a lot.
So it's a trust. They trust you guys, and they're interacting directly with you guys, and you're the arbiter of taste, essentially.
Trust is a big word, yeah, because the audience trusts us, you know, because they come back every week. You know, they trust us to upload a video or whatever. The brand trusts us to put out the video that they Of course, they're going to ask for revisions and stuff, but they trust us to make a video that is going to be brand safe, so there's a lot of trust, yeah.
And then now we're seeing another trend that came up. YouTube actually decided to start financing some creative projects for partners. And I'm curious to know what you guys' thoughts are on it in sort of a diplomatic way. This is YouTube did something called the Grant Program, which I believe is getting extended. It was about a $15 million fund that they were going to take top partners, give them a little bit of an advance on revenue, and say, hey, you do something a little cooler with this money. Have you guys participated in that, and is that something that has been working in general?
We were recipients of such a grant earlier this year. Brandon and I, we rented a RV and we went around the United States, a big 10,000-mile loop, driving around with a 29-foot RV. And we were using Facebook and Twitter and our website to get basically to go out and make videos with our viewers, to go to them. So we'd be driving through Bozeman, Montana. Be like, wait, I know there's someone here. Let's pull over. Let's make a video with this kid. And so we did this for a month, going around, and this was a YouTube grant project. And it's one of those things where it's on the surface of it. When we pitched it, it's very much like this is a bizarre sort of thing. But I think the goal with it was to sort of create content that is would be otherwise sort of difficult to finance, if you're looking at it from a point of view okay, how is this going to make money right away? But instead, if you're taking a step back and looking at the long-term view, it's okay, how does this project bring value to the channel in the long term? Then that's, the kind of projects that made sense for it. So, I'm not too familiar with, the other projects that went through the grant program, but the one that we did, was a lot of fun for us, and it was something that allowed us to, get out and meet our audience face to face and interact with them and teach them and make videos with them. And it was this cool sort of blend of social media and creative video making,
Anyone else?
No, my entire company essentially comes from the grant program, because before the grant program, I just had my channel. And then, that kind of advance, it took away that fear, and I was actually able to grow out that one channel, which did rather well. It got 12 million views a month to now 6 channels where we average 20 to 45 million views a month. And it really is all thanks to that. It wouldn't have been possible.
So where it's 2011, where is YouTube now? It's different than the 2006 days when a lot of you guys got started on it. There are businesses forming. Some of the top channels are coming together to form things like The Station, like DeFranco Inc., which have come together. Is that a trend that's going to continue? Do you see that kind of happening? Or is the role of sort of an independent YouTube star, is that a dying breed?
Well, it takes 400,000 subscribers to get into the top 100, which is a lot of subscribers. So it's tough to get that initial push unless you have something amazing that got picked up by the media or something like that, or like the actual guy who did the Auto-Tune the News, the bed intruder guy. He's not even in the top 100, so and everyone knows who he is. So it is tough to do something that's to get there. So I think that when you're kind of coming up and you're having that problem, if one of these big big companies approach you, of course you're going to say yes. Yeah. So I think it's going to, more of them are going to start coming about, and more companies like that are going to start appearing. But I don't think that the independent YouTuber is gone, because if you put the 2 or 3 years that it takes to get there, you're going to get there eventually.
How do you guys get subscribers? This is sort of a question for novices, but when you look at sort of the top 100, it is daunting. It is hundreds and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. I think Ryan Higa, the -- he's crossed 3 million.
3 million.
That's a lot of people, and it seems to be a very controlled thing. You can't buy them, it seems like.
You just have to ask. Be like, hey, please subscribe.
Yeah.
But I think collaborations, help out a lot too. You collab with other top YouTubers, and they kind of help your channel grow. But a lot of it is just asking. Hey, don't forget to subscribe. And a couple years later, then you'll finally get all those subscribers.
Yeah.
I think in general, a lot of people take, and I think this is the wrong approach, I think they take what I call a view-based approach, which is they'll make content, they'll make a web series, and then they'll think, okay, how can I get people to watch this now? And then they try, putting the links around, and they try and get as many viewers as they can. But it just never seems to work, And I think that the way to really do it is not from a view-based approach, more of a content-based approach. And what that means is, you have to kind of sit with the fact that like maybe the web series you're making or maybe the content that you're making doesn't play online. And you have to be able to put that out there, be able to see how it plays and say, well, if this doesn't work, I can keep pushing this, but it's not going to go anywhere. I need to change my tack, And so what's nice about, YouTube and online video is that you have that feedback from the online audience. You're able to put something out, you're able to see, is this catching on? Is anybody even passing this around? If not, maybe the content itself, we need to, tweak it a little bit and change it around, And rather than say, okay, well, this is the content, this is what I'm going to do, why is anyone seeing it? The question should be, this is, what do I make? So what do I make that people would actually want to see, to begin with? But I think, to speak of, like independent YouTubers and stuff, good content that's compelling online, which it might be good content for other things, but good online content I think will always have a place and will always find an audience.
What do you find is really popular? That's a bad question, but what is that? I want to sort of drill into what is good and what tends to play well to the YouTube subscriber base, the community that is actively involved in the guys who subscribe to you. Who are trying to find new channels. What is it that draws them to like the top channels? Sort of a broad question.
Yeah, well, you look at the top. Us here, you've got like vloggers, you got like
show stuff,
like action stuff, like news stuff. I do like music videos. I think, like Freddie was saying, it is really broad. Because there are a lot of people on the internet and a lot of people on YouTube, not only on YouTube, but like just on the internet in general. So, if you do something that appeals to some kind of audience, even if it's super niche, you're going to find your audience. Like some of the new media series, that appeal to just one game or something like that. Like whole entire channels to StarCraft. So, and they get millions and millions and millions of hits. So, the content can be anything.
I think it's more about the personality, really.
Yeah.
I mean, Justine is young girls interested in technology. You guys, I feel like, are just like people that do really creative stuff and like just want to show it. I'm just kind of like a mean dude that people can relate to. I think it is. It's the personality. It's that because I think we're completely different than like someone that you would watch on TV, because like you would want to catch a glimpse of that person, but maybe you'd want to like have a beer with Freddie.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
People come up to us on the street and they sometimes forget that we don't know their names because they feel like they're friends. So people come up to me, "Hey Joe, how's it going, man? Long time no see." Good, nice to meet you. So so I feel like like it's different than celebrities. Where it's like, oh my gosh, somebody is sitting over here. It's like, oh look, MysteryGuitarMan, iJustine is sitting right there. That's cool.
I shared a cab ride over here with the girl that watched my videos, and thankfully, because she was in the front of the line and I was all the way in the back, so I wouldn't have had to wait pretty much an hour cab line. She's like, Justine. I was like, she's like, you don't know me. I was like, okay, I wasn't sure. But, it's like they feel like they do know you, and they kind of forget that, oh, wait, you don't know who I am. But I watch you all the time. I know your favorite color. I know your favorite food. And I think a thing, too, that makes YouTube so different is it's interactive. So if I ask a question, they're answering back, and probably in the next episode, they have a chance that I'm going to mention their comment or their video. So I do a show called Ask IJ where people just literally ask me a bunch of questions and I answer them. So people get so excited, they're like, oh my gosh, you used my question, this is so exciting. So they really love that type of interactivity where you don't get that on TV. If you ask Brad Pitt a question, he's probably not going to answer it, so we'll answer you.
Kids are trained to use their computers as a social device right now. They spend so much time on Facebook and communicating with their friends that when you're coming into them through their computer as opposed to through their TV, which is strictly a device where you watch celebrities, right. That the computer they see you as a friend.
And YouTube too, I think tends to I don't claim to know all the numbers and stuff, but just from my experience, the YouTube subscriber crowd, that's to say the group of people that are dedicated to subscribing, to commenting, to putting video responses, that crowd tends to be younger than you might expect. They tend to be sort of high school age and below, and of course, not only high school and age below people watch, internet videos. So I think a lot of the thinking should be not so much focusing only on, okay, who are the YouTube subscribers, but also, internet as a whole, because YouTube is big, but the internet's huge, So you can kind of get tunnel vision if you're like saying, okay, how do I hit the subscriber crowd? But it helps also sort of cast a wider net and say, okay, how can we appeal sort of to online audiences as a whole, and you have more options that way.
Yeah. Well, I think that brings up a good point. Is YouTube the only place to be, especially for you guys who have built popular channels there? I'm sure opportunities come up to do videos on other sites or to do a campaign that takes it off of YouTube. Are you guys looking to branch out this year, or is YouTube still kind of home base?
You can't really get tunnel vision that way. It's like you're putting the blinders on. You have to be on Facebook. You have to be on Twitter, especially Facebook, because that's where just everybody spends most of their time on. So you have to have a big Facebook audience. I've done like campaigns outside of YouTube too, like for Sony, where they posted FAQs on their websites and stuff like that. So yeah, you can't just be just YouTube. You have to cast a wider net. Yeah.
I mean, you never want like all your eggs in one basket, but I mean, if you're going to have them anywhere, YouTube's a great basket. It really is. And I mean, I imagine like you guys aren't always going to be on YouTube. You're looking for a movie. I feel like a lot of YouTubers are messing around with pilots. But I think 98% of the time, if you ask a YouTuber if they would leave or go somewhere else, no. You always have that core. You have that. I don't know. It's kind of what you're saying about young kids. The computer is you. Like my YouTube channel feels like me.
And the question too is, it's not whether or not YouTube is going to be. Is this the only? The question is like, what does YouTube as a site represent on the internet? I mean, it's like MySpace was a social networking site. MySpace is almost everyone's on Facebook now. Did that mean that MySpace is useless? It's like, no, well, no. There's always going to be a social networking site, and I think there's always going to be a video sharing site. So whatever that is, you have to be open for it. But at the moment, YouTube is definitely that site.
In a minute, we're going to take some questions from the audience, I believe. We can do it now. You guys should talk to these guys.
We have time for a couple of questions, but I've got the mic. So if anyone has a question, please come over to this side. Please get out of your seat and walk over here. Yes, come on over. Cool. Anybody else have a question? Come on over. Okay, just since you're closest, let's go ahead.
Okay, I got a question of how long is the longest that you'll spend on making a video and say, okay, that's it. Like that's the max. I'm not ever gonna go past 3 nights or MysteryGuitarMan this much editing before I ever post another video again.
Well, I've worked on videos for a couple months, especially branded videos where there are a bunch of revisions back and forth. But just like a video just for fun, I get bored after like 2 or 3 days, I think. So 2 or 3 days maybe.
There's no hard limit. If we like to release one every week, and so if we have one that's going to take us a lot longer than a week to work on, we'll come up with a couple that we know that we can do in a couple days, and then put those out so we can buy more time for the bigger one. So there's no limit. It's really just based on the idea.
Yeah. I'm pretty ADD. I'm a day. I mean, really, because my videos are really just flow of thought, and if I don't like it, I just scrap it. It's the only way.
Yeah, definitely no more than 2 days.
Yeah.
My question is, I run an organization. We do social marketing, like teaching people healthy habits and stuff like that. Let's say teen pregnancy prevention or smoking. And any tips about how to make videos that would do good in the world?
Well, I think nobody likes to listen to organizations, but people like to listen to people. I think a step would be to think about some kind of spokesperson, some kind of human entity to base your things around, because it's one thing to sort of throw, hey kids, smoking's not cool, but if it's not anybody you trust, if there's nobody you've built a relationship to, it's sort of empty advice,
Kind of like what they did with The More You Know and stuff like that, where they, all of a sudden put a face to, when it was just, like, don't smoke. It's like, why shouldn't I smoke? But then when it's Shaq telling you not to smoke, then it's like, all right, Shaq told me not to smoke.
Hi. First of all, it's great to see you guys here instead of on YouTube. I want to talk about how you deal with haters. Phil, I watch you a lot. I know you've had some interesting strategies, but there's someone, as a YouTube partner, how many partners in the room, but there's a problem where some haters have been filing false DMCA copyright claims, and I wonder if you guys have experienced that problem, how you've dealt with that and haters in general. Thanks.
I mean, malicious haters, malicious people that actually try and take down your account. I mean, that's a whole different level, and there are safeguards, I feel like, for a lot of us, but a lot of the smaller guys, it's really hard to combat it. As far as just like haters in general, I mean, you can either just let your audience take care of them, which if you have one, they will, or like we've done in the past, put them out there, like just point them out and let the internet do what it does.
Wow.
Is that bad? I'm sorry.
It's very hard though, because it's like you're reading these things, and especially for like my parents and my family, they're reading this. They're like, "Did you see what Johnny 456 said about you?" No, I didn't, but it was probably awful, so I don't want to read it. So I mean, a lot of that you just have to ignore it. Like you have to, because if you let it get to you, you're not going to go anywhere. So if you see those bad comments, I mean, you have to ignore it. And sometimes, you know, there being haters, there's actually some constructive criticism that you can learn about it. You're like, you're right. That is actually really annoying when I do that. So sometimes it helps.
Marc, we have time for one more question.
Okay.
So real quick, because this is obviously a much younger crowd. The last couple of presentations we've heard were from some of the traditional media guys. So what do you guys say to the traditional media guys about what is the future of entertainment? Because they're convinced that TV is here to stay. I'm sure you guys have some opinions about that.
Well, it's not a matter of whether or not TV is here to stay. Of course, TV is here. When TVs came out, it's like, oh, we're going to take down film. And no, of course, film is still around. So, of course, you know.
And theater, yeah. Broadway's still around. Movies were supposed to take care of that, weren't they?
I know, yeah, exactly. So it's not like a competition. I mean, there's you know, you're still going to watch a movie even though you watch TV, even though you watch our channels online. I mean, it's really, like the internet is really non-competitive.
Yeah, you have one end of the spectrum, which is movies, which is like you go and sit in a room and you don't say anything and you watch as most, you know, committed. And then the other end here, which is now sort of even past TV in terms of agency on the user end, you know. Yeah. So I think it's a new sort of inroad into an audience, but the rules are different because of the interactivity, because there's back and forth, and because there's a relationship built up between content creator and consumer. You have to respect that relationship, and I think that's the biggest key, more so than anything else.
Well, Freddie, Joe, Brandon, Justine, Phil, and of course Marc, thank you so much for sharing some of your secrets. We're ready for our next session. I remind you guys to exit this way.